Hey everyone, our first Void Ark exploration is coming to an end, and I thought it would be a really good time to review a lot of the lessons we've learned from this first exploration and what we can do going into the next Void Ark. So I put together a few tips I think will really help people, the strategies I'm planning on doing, some of the discussions people have been having about what's best. Obviously, this is my personal opinion based on what I know right now. If I learn anything more, or if my viewers want to commentate saying I'm wrong about something, make sure to check the pinned comments in this YouTube video, because if there's anything wrong or if I change my mind later, I'll make sure to pin something to it. I'm hoping this video is going to help a lot of people. So if this video helped you, please make sure to subscribe. Please make sure to leave a like. It really lets me know that you guys are appreciating what I'm doing. So the first thing I wanted to discuss is where I actually ended up in my final total for Enova crystals. In this season, we finished with 778,043 Enova crystals. So obviously our goal for next season is to finish with a higher amount than that. And I really do think we can do that even beyond just having more powerful heroes, which will help in our void load mines. I also made a mistake. I know I made my buying guide, but I personally think I made a mistake because I did finish out the map on 4 to unlock 5, and I did not have quite enough to get one of the eggs. So while I could use all my Nova crystals or a large amount of them to get stellar shards this round, I will be rolling over some of my Nova crystals into the next one, and hopefully I'll be able to knock out both of these eggs in the 5th store on our next exploration. I'm also ranked 230th on the leaderboard right now. It's been going down a little bit as people sign in and get their rewards. We finished with 267,000 exploration points. So pretty happy with that overall. I'm definitely not one of the 230 most powerful people, but that means I'm going to finish in this bracket getting 101 to 300 rewards, which is pretty exciting. It feels really good knowing that we're going to be getting these great resources at the end of the season. And that's why a lot of this video is going to be discussing about how you can get your navigation points the highest so that you can get these rewards. Because it feels really bad right now to only have one pet and not even be able to level them up, evolve them one time because you're missing these resources. So a lot of the stuff I'm discussing in this video is going to be how do you get more adventure points? How do you maximize these resources? So if you disagree with that logic and you want to prioritize other items, you'll have to kind of take what I'm saying with a grain of salt and apply it to your own situation. But this is where I'm personally at and what I'm trying to do. I want to start by talking off about how many days you have to explore each sector, because I definitely made a mistake on this. I only was able to complete Sector 6 one time in this entire run. So I have a lot I can learn from thinking about when it's a good idea to skip at 90% and when it's a good idea to do 100%. So every exploration is 30 days long. With a day off in between, which means we have 29 days to explore. And it takes 4 days to explore a sector at 100%, and it takes only 3 days to explore a sector at 90%. So I want to start with the base situation, which is if you are at 100% completion for every single sector, what are you going to be able to get done? You'll be able to complete Sector 6 twice and 1 extra day on Sector 6, okay? And that will get you to 29 days total. If you skip 3 days, you will see that you can actually complete Sector 6 3 times, which means you're going to be getting all the extra bonuses in the navigation points. Specifically, your 100% bonus is 6,000 more exploration tokens, okay? And if you skip every single day, what happens? Well, it allows you to go up to 2 extra days on Sector 6. So you'll clear Sector 6 3 times and have 2 more days on Sector 6. So it's this debate about what do you do? I think it's pretty obvious why skipping 3 days in the second situation is better than the first situation. That ability to complete Sector 6 3 times is going to be very important to you as far as navigation points, as well as just getting higher resources at Sector 6. But what's not so obvious to me was, like, why would you not want to just skip every single day until you hit Sector 6? Because you'll be having 2 extra days on Sector 6, you know that you would have spent 1 day on Sector 4 and Sector 5. So obviously you're going to get more like regular resources, stellar shards, crystals of transcendence in Sector 6 than those. Well, the issue is you're obviously not getting the navigation points at that point. And they become pretty substantial once you're at Sector 4 and Sector 5. Specifically, you're missing out on a total of 9,000 navigation points. And since I said I'm prioritizing those star spawn materials, that leaderboard ranking is going to be very important. The other big thing that makes this all difficult is, what if you have an egg on that last day, on that 4th day? Where do you prioritize that? And obviously eggs are worth 100,000 Unova crystals from the store, so we can kind of put a value on them. And like I said, the resources they give you, I'm prioritizing very heavily. So while the common knowledge that is being handed out is, skip Sector 1, 2, and 3, and then do 100% for the rest, I think it's really better to say, you're allowed 3 skips in the first 5 sectors. And that way you can give yourself a cushion if you have an egg on the last day. So for example, if you have an egg on the last day in Sector 1, you may still want to do 100% on Sector 1 to make sure you get that egg. And then you'll have to skip on Sector 4 and get 90% on Sector 4. So you're not going to get that adventure bonus, but you are going to get the egg. You're going to get a chance at the materials you need for star spawns, and you're going to potentially get a new star spawn. So I think it's better to say you're allowed 3 skips in the first 5 sectors, and you really have to just hope that you don't get an egg every single time on your last day. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about was this idea about stopping at a sector where you can clear the Void Lord. A lot of people are saying, if you can't beat the Void Lord, or if you can just barely beat him, that's the point at which you can stop, and you shouldn't really move on. So I did some math on my own. If this math is incorrect, please make sure to let me know. I tried really hard to be as accurate as possible, where I was comparing what about if you did Sector 5 versus Sector 6, and you're able to kill the Void Lord every time in Sector 5, and on Sector 6 you're not able to kill the Void Lord whatsoever. I did 2 different situations for this. One is if you have the equivalent of 15 10 stars. The other is if you have the equivalent of 15 E5 heroes, and how the math changes because of this token modifier. Every planet you explore, you get a certain base amount of exploration points. I'm using 110 versus 125 here. So on Sector 5 you get 110, on Sector 6 you get 125. That's if you cleared Broken Space 7, and that's if you're a monthly subscriber, a monthly card holder. Okay, that's how many you get on those planets. And you get plus 400% for an E5 hero compared to a base 10 star. And so you can see in this total here, I looked at how many planets on average you're doing, how many exploration points you're getting per planet, and then what the total amount of exploration points you're getting from each planet is. Then I said, okay, in the PvP fights, assuming you win all 12 of them that you're going to have on those 4 days of exploring, this is how many exploration tokens you'll get from that. Then I said, the Void Lord, how many will you get? And I said, you literally cannot clear Sector 6. You're going to get 0 points, whereas you'll get 3,300 for clearing them on Sector 5. And then you'll also get the bonus, the clear bonus navigation token. So that's 1,000 difference. And you can see that the math is showing that if your number 1 goal is to prioritize exploration tokens, and you literally cannot beat Sector 6 whatsoever at all, but you can always clear Sector 5, then it is actually better to stop at Sector 5. But in my opinion, there's a big caveat to that, and we'll discuss that in just a second. But I do want to talk about if you had the equivalent of 15 E5 heroes, you can see that token modifier being plus 400% is really making a difference in the amount of tokens you're getting from the planets. And so you can see you actually get 51,850 adventure tokens versus 48,648. So in this situation, even though you can't beat the Void Lord, you're still actually getting more adventure tokens by doing Sector 6. So I said there were some caveats to this. One of them is obviously that you're spending a lot more time on Sector 5 versus Sector 6. And so every time you're spending on Sector 5 instead of Sector 6, that means you're getting 13% less regular resources. That means 13% less stellar shards, 13% less crystals of transcendence, 13% less void Ark, ingots, like all of it. Like you're just getting less of it by doing Sector 5. And so is this small loss in adventure tokens here, worth it to you? The other thing is that there's the possibility that you do actually clear Sector 6 boss at least one time. The bosses roll over, and so you could carry that damage over 3 times, and potentially in those 3 chances, by unlocking more attacks as the maps go on, you might actually be able to clear Sector 6 one time. And obviously at that point, you're actually getting more resources by doing Sector 6, killing him one time, than doing Sector 5. So I know I said I'd be talking about how to maximize navigation points, but I did at least want to address the effect that doing Sector 6 when you can't clear the Void Lord would have on your Enova crystals. So you can see that on Sector 5, if you kill the Void Lord, you get 28,600 Enova crystals. And on Sector 6, you get 32,500. You also get Enova crystals just from doing regular planets. And when you're doing regular planets on Sector 6, you're going to be getting more Enova crystals. So what's the difference you have there if you're getting those 28,600 from the Void Lord, but you're getting less from planets? Well, the difference is 26,150 Enova crystals. So if you literally can't clear the Void Lord at all, that means you're losing 26,150 Enova crystals per run. And if you do 3 total runs of that, that means in total you're going to lose 78,450 Enova crystals, which is a lot, for sure. I did want to put a gem cost to that just so you could have an idea about what the value is. And that's 3,189 gems in my opinion. So you have to debate, would I pay 3,189 gems in order to get 13% more stellar shards, Compass of Transcendence, Void Nar, all those other resources you get at Sector 6, as well as the fact that, you potentially are getting more adventure tokens. One thing I didn't include in here was I didn't include the gain you get from PvP. I think they're equivalent between Sector 5 and Sector 6. I don't actually know exactly how the math works on PvP. So obviously, if you do get more Enova crystals from PvP on Sector 6, and you are able to win your fights, obviously that makes that difference smaller, and so you're actually spending less gems for that difference. And also, if you are able to clear Sector 6 boss one time, that difference in Enova crystals only drops down to 45,000, which is closer to 1.9k gems. I think a lot of people are curious too about the order in which they should be buying upgrades. Obviously, personally, I think prioritizing moving on to the next sector is very important. So you probably won't have enough crystal ingots to upgrade your collector workshop in Sector 1. You'll just have to save them so you can move on to Sector 2. On Sector 2, you may have enough where you can move on to Sector 3 and upgrade a collector workshop. So you may do that. The issue is it becomes really dependent on your team and how many crystal ingots you're getting. So it's hard to give advice, but I say in general, make sure you can always move on to the next sector. Try to get your collector workshop up. Try to save your void loads for the next sector map. Make sure in your spaceship lab, right now I didn't do any PvP at all. I just worked on PvE. I will say that now that we know that the Void Lord carries on with you sector to sector to sector, it really means that you can, save some money in some of the earlier sectors by not leveling up your Arcane Nexus, not leveling up your Spaceship Lab, putting that into your Collector Workshop, getting a lot more resources and Enova Crystals that way. And then once you kind of get to your final sector, kind of knocking out all the Void Bosses. Obviously, the ones you can kill along the way, great, but you'll be able to, get more things from Void Loads earlier and often by prioritizing that first. So the big takeaways from this video and what I'll be practicing for my next exploration of the Void Ark, I'm going to make sure that I skip 3 out of the first 5 sectors, and I'm going to try and make sure that I always get every single egg on the last day. Hopefully I don't have super bad luck where I have to stick around and make that decision about whether I skip or whether I keep an egg. I'm also going to make sure that I always save enough crystal ingots to move on to the next sector. That definitely screwed me this season because I actually had to run Sector 5 twice instead of moving on to Sector 6 because I was upgrading my Collector Workshop thinking that was more important. I'm going to save investing in PvE resources until later, and I'm really just going to prioritize getting as many adventure tokens as possible. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I tried to put a lot of effort into it. I really tried to get the math right. Hopefully it's right, and hopefully it's not all completely wrong. I just hear a lot of things of people saying different things like where you should stop, where you shouldn't stop. Everybody's situation is going to be different. You may prioritize things differently than I prioritize things, but I wanted to say, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm prioritizing. I hope you find it helpful, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.